How's it going, everyone? It's been a couple weeks, mainly because I screwed up an entire video. I had to get it out before I went on vacation, but I didn't. And just the timing of it means I just no longer want to have that video posted. So, yeah, that was my bad. Anyway, my first video was a review of Squid Game's Season 2, and I would say it was pretty good, both in my view and to general audiences. However, with the release of Season 3, aka Season 2, it completely divided viewers. Some believed that this season was just as great as the last two, but for some people, this season completely ruined the entire show. So, how do I feel about the final season?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
For the most part, it still had that suspense in the games and emotional scenes that made the first season so special. Yet, throughout the show, there was this feeling of emptiness. It felt like watching one of those live action remakes of an animated movie. Even if it was enjoyable, I don't think the ending justified having a new sequel to the first season of Squid Game. I mean, just take a look at that teaser for Squid Game USA at the end. Even people who enjoyed this season were looking at the concept of a USA version with annoyance. I think the splitting of the story into two distinct seasons actually ended up hurting the final season. The premiere of season 3 started off with a bang, the complete opposite of season 2. Hide and seek was a great game, even though I thought it was completely unfair to the hiders. In fact, I think all the games in the second half were great. However, and this is where I put the spoiler blocker, it did just get rid of too many of the fan favorites. We lose both the mother and son, 120, 388, and basically confirms the demise of 222. Characters we were so curious about at the end of season 2, just to be killed off within the first 2 episodes. And by the end of the games, we're left with players like 100, Min Soo, Funny Muffler, Jerky Pal.
Boo boo keys.
But I think it goes beyond that. The detective side plot in season 2 didn't live up to the hype. It just ended how it did in season 1. The detective asks his brother, why? And he's left on red, and then he's forced to take care of a baby. I think Noel's story improved greatly between seasons as we actually get to see her succeed in rescuing 246, and I liked how her story briefly connected to the main plot. But going back to negatives, I think they did 124 and especially Minsu aka 125 wrong. They both become dependent on Thanos' drugs, rip my boy, leading to similar downfalls despite their vastly different characters. They both felt like just secondary thoughts that led to a weak conclusion, like basically becoming background characters. Like I thought 125 was just a kid in a bad crowd, you know, he just wanted to escape from a bad place. But no, the frontman just labels him as trash with the rest of the group. Like, he's not trash. Like, I would say he's, like, maybe a recyclable, you know? Like, he's not that bad. Like, sure, he let his goth girlfriend die, but, like, you know, at this point, they're not even paying attention to him, so he just eventually just gets a sad but ultimately pointless downfall. He's just treated as the rest of these randos. And heck, even G Hunt doesn't give a shit about him, so why should I? An obvious point, the acting for the VIPs was bad. Early on, there was emphasis on keeping these games running for the VIPs, but that led to nothing. Even in the final game, when the detective was coming onto the island and how the game was being played out, looked to have some kind of impact. But no, everyone's gone by the time Jun-Ho arrives. I guess I should talk about that last game. At the beginning of the season, Ji-hun is just a broken shell who looks to kill 388, which I would say is completely unjustified. Like, is it completely unreasonable that someone will have a complete breakdown in the middle of a revolution. But the show turns 380 into the worst character ever during hide and seek. So still, Jihan manages to get his motivation back when he's tasked with taking care of the baby Tutu left behind. No, 222. Overall, I liked the baby as it was a twist that we needed to keep season 3 from just being a worse season 1. Yet, from a thematic view, it's just a retelling of the messages of season 1, except it's as obvious as ever, like Dora the Explorer type hinting. Eventually, it leaves us in the final round of the game Sky Squid Game, which I don't think is a children's game, but I'm not from South Korea, so I wouldn't know. Anyway, it's just 456, the baby, and the baby's father, free, 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 showing two different sides of humanity. Crypto Bro looked like he was trying to repair his relationship with 222 and wanted to protect his baby by sacrificing anyone. But when the possibility of him being the sacrifice came up, his true self showed that in the end, the money was the main priority. Jihan, however, still had that care for the baby, so it was no surprise when he decided to sacrifice himself for the baby. Overall, great ending, but overall, great conclusion to the games. I just wish there was more time to devote to Free's character turn, as it was just a little sudden. And his death also felt a little unsatisfying, with both him and Jihan just watching in silence as the jacket holding Free rips, and then he dies. Another takeaway is how the game Jihan and the frontman were playing destroyed a major point of Season 1. See, Season 1 put a strong emphasis on the games being fair and square to every contestant, and that rule is immediately broken by keeping Jihan alive. Then it continues by forcing the baby to participate. At one point, Jihan sees the true identity of the frontman, turning to be out his old pal 001. I just found it underwhelming, as Jihan isn't even given a chance to fully react to the reveal before the frontman is just willing to completely throw the fairness of the game just so he could prove his point. We also see the frontman give Jihan a decision to just kill everyone while they're sleeping, a decision the frontman actually took when he was in the game. Excuse me, what the fuck did Inho do to get that advantage? At least Jihan had a baby. But Jihan doesn't accept because that's not the type of person he is. But it goes back to why another season was created in the first place. Season 1 had the themes of fairness and greed coexist with each other, but Season 3 abandons one for another retelling of the other. Overall, while Season 3 didn't ruin the show, it does just leave me with a big, oh, okay, that's it. I've always thought that some aspects of Season 2 were purposely underdeveloped to strengthen Season 3, but I think the opposite happened. The cut allowed Season 2 to have more exciting cliffhangers and the prospect of a thrilling conclusion, yet when Season 2 was looking to do something different, Season 3 looked to revert back to what Season 1 was doing. I think that's where the divide in opinion can be seen. The games and characters in Season 3 were just as good as in Season 1 and way better than Season 2, which was the one thing that Season 2 was lacking. If that's what you're craving, then Season 3 is just gray in your eyes. But look what it adds to the overall arc of Squid Game. It's not impossible to see Season 3 as just an afterthought, seen to expand the Squid Game multiverse. In my mind, despite all the negatives I said, I do believe that entertainment is a crucial factor, and Season 3 was able to deliver on that front. For that, I'm giving Season 3 a 6 out of 10, the main detriment being how quickly so many of my fan favorites were just killed off. But anyway, quick video, what did you guys think of Squid Game's final season, and Squid Game as a whole? Leave your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe and like. With that, see you later, horses.